Welcome to Consortium News Video. I'm Robert Perry. On July 25th, the House Judiciary Committee held hearings on George W. Bush's abuses of presidential powers. At the start, Republicans reminded everyone that House rules barred personal attacks on Bush. But that didn't stop Republicans from lashing out at one of their favorite whipping boys, former Ambassador Joseph Wilson. Representative Steve King of Iowa flourished two pieces of evidence supposedly showing Wilson to be a perjurer and vindicating President Bush's old claim that Iraq had covertly sought yellow cake uranium from Niger. According to King, Joe Wilson's integrity was, quote, "the least impressive of any that I have seen before this committee in 6 years," unquote. Wilson, you may recall, was one of the first government insiders back in 2003 to dare criticize Bush's use of false intelligence to justify the invasion of Iraq. In 2002, the CIA had sent Wilson on a fact-finding trip to Niger to check out allegations that Iraq had recently sought yellow cake from that African nation. Wilson came back and, like other U.S. officials on the ground, concluded that those reports were almost surely false. However, in selling the invasion of Iraq in 2003, President Bush revived the Niger yellow cake allegations. That prompted Wilson to challenge the president's use of false intelligence, and he went public with his direct knowledge in July 2003. The White House, along with friendly Republicans and allies in the U.S. news media, then went after Wilson in a campaign that included exposing the fact that his wife, Valerie Plame Wilson, worked as a covert intelligence officer at the CIA. At no point over the next 5 years have Bush and the others ever stopped to apologize. Indeed, they've never stopped bashing Wilson, a campaign that Congressman King resumed at the July 25th hearing. To make his case, King cited the CIA's now declassified report on its debriefing of Wilson after he returned from Niger in 2002. King said the CIA report revealed that Wilson had spoken with Niger's former Prime Minister Ibrahim Mayaki, and that Mayaki had suspected that an Iraqi trade delegation in 1999 might be interested in buying yellow cake. King claimed that Wilson had hoped to keep this information secret, and that Mayaki's suspicion vindicated Bush. The reality, however, is that Wilson's account always included this element of Mayaki's suspicion. Wilson also explained how Mayaki's suspicion turned out to be unfounded. The Iraqi delegation never sought to buy yellow cake, and indeed did not. King's other new evidence was the recent press report that the current Iraqi government has sold tons of leftover yellow cake uranium to Canada. Over the past few weeks, this factlet has been flying around the right-wing media as proof that Bush was correct in his yellow cake claims and that Wilson was wrong. However, the reality again is quite different. This yellow cake is the same uranium ore that the CIA discussed in its 2004 report, which concluded that Iraq had long ago abandoned its WMD programs. The CIA reported that the yellow cake was obtained by Iraq almost 30 years ago and has been sitting in warehouses since the Iraqi nuclear program was destroyed in 1990 and 91 during the first Persian Gulf War. So instead of a new piece of dramatic evidence, the yellow cake story turns out to be just another example of how Bush's supporters can't stop fabricating information to protect him and to disparage his critics. For more on the endless smearing of Joe Wilson, go to consortiumnews.com.